Before we get into this video, we'll be talking about chapter 113 of the Attack on Titan manga and all things spoilers. So if you don't read the manga or aren't up to date with it, I'd advise you stop watching now if you don't want anything spoiled, because I really wouldn't want to spoil anything for you. So guys, first Attack on Titan video of the year. It's been a little while since I talked about the manga, but I am really excited to talk about it again because the recent chapters have been really interesting. If by any chance you haven't watched any of my manga videos before and are wondering what they're about, I basically do a recap of the chapter whilst giving my thoughts on it. I wouldn't really call it a review, but in a way that kind of sums up what they are, just, a lot less professional. So first we'll do a quick recap of some of the highlights of the recent chapters because I haven't talked about them yet. Then we'll get into chapter 113, and knowing me, I'll spend too long talking about certain things. So if you just want to listen to my thoughts on chapter 113, I'll put a timestamp in the description. So at the end of chapter 111, we found out something really interesting. Not only did Falco get knocked unconscious by a bottle of wine by Niccolo, but that all the wine that unfortunately Falco and a bunch of soldiers ingested has Zeke's spinal fluid in it, as well as that Flock and other soldiers have turned on Hanji and the scouts because they apparently can't leave it to Pixies to decide the island's fate, and they believe siding with Eren and Zeke is the most sensible thing to do. But what was interesting is that they also knew about the spinal fluid being in the military police's wine. I mean, just look at that face. That's right, I know. Type of face, and also one that I'm pretty sure Levi would love to kick. Then we have a section with Eren, Armin, Mikasa and Gabby, and it gets pretty heated. Mikasa is under the impression that Eren is being controlled and his actions aren't his own, like killing a bunch of innocent people when he infiltrated Marley, but according to Eren, everything he does is of his own free will. And Eren asks Armin about going to see Annie, and if that's of his own free will or Bertolt's, which I found really interesting. Just a heads up, I'll probably say interesting a lot in this video, apologies if it gets annoying, but that definitely had me thinking because we all know Bertolt really liked or even loved Annie, and honestly thinking about it now makes me sad that nothing ever happened between them, and also of course that Bertolt died. On a side note, if Annie comes back and finds out about his death, I'm wondering what her reaction would be, like if she'd be her usual blunt self and not really show any emotion, or if she'd actually, show emotion and be upset. Let me know how you guys think she would react. To be honest, I could probably spend an entire video talking about Bertolt. But moving on, if we look back at chapter 110, when Armin is with Annie, he gets confronted by Hitch and says he thought he might be able to get information that Titan memories come to people based on touch. To me, this definitely seems like something Armin would do, but I'm curious what you guys think. Do you think he's visiting Annie of his own free will or because of Bertolt? And also your thoughts in general on the whole being controlled thing, I would love to know. We also found out why the Ackermans are so strong. According to Eren, they can manifest the power of the Titans, that the instincts in their blood will activate when they recognize someone as a host, and for Mikasa, Eren is that host. That's why she's always protected him due to her instincts. She was given a battle experience by every previous Ackerman as a way of path. Basically, to sum it all up, this is why she is so strong and overpowered. She tries to convince herself that what Eren is saying isn't true and that she became strong because of him. He even makes her cry by saying that ever since he was a kid, he's always hated her. And I'm glad that Armin tried to swing at him. You don't just make Mikasa cry like that. But she slams Armin down when he attempts to punch Eren and just confirms everything he just said. But luckily our boy Armin is a big Boku no Hero Academia fan and comes at Eren with a Detroit smash, and I cannot stress how much I love the look on Eren's face as he's getting punched. He's not even phased in the slightest, and a fight breaks out and Eren just sits Armin down. Mikasa's crying. It's honestly horrible seeing them like this, but once again, props to our boy Armin, who says, "What is it you even wanted to say? Is that the freedom you wanted? The freedom to hurt Mikasa? Tell me, who's the real slave to a piece of shit?" And as you can see, Eren is beyond triggered, but it's sad seeing them like this. It makes you miss when they were younger and happy, but time goes on and maybe at the end they'll be happy again. I mean, It's Isayama, so who really knows? As for Levi, he's in a forest with Zeke. He's saying so he really was our enemy all along, that he wouldn't stand a chance at escaping because he's surrounded by soldiers. And there's a flashback to the return to Shiganshina arc where it's Levi with Erwin saying, "It took so long, Erwin. I think I'm finally going to fulfill the vow I made to you that day." He's of course referring to killing Zeke, but unfortunately Levi didn't know what was in the wine. Zeke starts sprinting and lets out a roar, and chapter 112 ends with Levi by himself surrounded by the soldiers turning into titans, and we were left thinking, holy crap, how is he going to get out of this one? Personally, I knew he wouldn't die because I do feel like Levi is one of the characters who will make it to the very end and not die. Well, I freaking hope so anyway, because if he dies before he fulfills his promise to Erwin, well, let's just say you'll never hear from me again until I rename my channel Attack on Titan was a mistake. But anyway, let's get into chapter 113, Violence. We start off with Pixies and a handful of other soldiers who drank the wine, felt the electric run through their body because Zeke let out a roar. So something I'm curious about is why they didn't turn into titans. Maybe this has to do with a vicinity, that only titans within a certain distance of Zeke turn, and they didn't due to distance, or will it still happen because they felt the electric and their body went numb for a moment. I'm not really too sure about that because the soldiers in the forest turned but everyone else didn't, so I think maybe distance might have something to do with it, or they're about to turn into titans. Like I said, I'm not sure. When it comes to Falco, I thought he might be safe because Hanji and the rest of them were able to get that wine out of his system before Zeke roared, but he also felt the electric and Hanji is shocked and says, "No way," and Pixies says, "So? You've done it." They might be under the impression that they'll turn into a titan, but little do they know they're safe now thanks to our boy Levi. Well, that's kind of what I inferred from that. So we get back to Levi. He is surrounded by titans, and Zeke actually thought that a few titans would stop Levi from getting to him and that he would actually stand a chance. Now Levi didn't get through them effortlessly. He's legit panicking, and because there is so many of them and Zeke is controlling their movements and making it even harder for Levi, and I could say a little emotional for Levi, as you can see from the look on his face, and he's saying, "Are you still in there?" There was a few close calls for Levi where he could have been eaten, but luckily he didn't. Zeke's thinking he's gonna get away. We see that soldiers of Marley are on the islands, probably with Reiner, Peak and Porco, and I'm hoping we get more Titan battles later on and that Annie joins the fight, but Levi just comes straight for him, looking so angry, and Zeke thinks it'll be a good idea to turn into Beast Titan. I mean, he should remember what happened in the Return to Shiganshina arc when Levi completely obliterated him in a matter of seconds, which in a few months we'll get to see animated, and I cannot wait. But the same thing happens again because Levi just rains down on him with the thunder spears to his nape, and I absolutely love this shot of Levi just diving straight down at him. Then we have a Flock recruiting people for the Jaeger faction, and all I can say is, per Keith, I was actually hoping Keith would beat the crap out of anyone who came near him and just knocked Flock out, but unfortunately they got the better of him and did what Flock said, which was to beat him up until he couldn't stand anymore. And now Flock wants Hanji to bring him to Zeke, so I'm wondering if she'll actually do it or if she has something planned. As much as it pains me to say, I feel like if she doesn't cooperate, she'll be shot. Then the chapter ends with Levi and Zeke, well, what's left of him, and in case Zeke decides to try something, Levi placed a thunder spear into his stomach, and the wire around his neck is connected to a fuse, so if he decides to move, he will get blown the heck up. And as well as that, Levi is thinking ahead. He's like, "Your feet, you don't need those," and just chops them off. So now he can't transform because his body is healing. He asks for his glasses, Levi saying he won't be needing them, and we get a flashback of when Zeke was younger. He's playing with Xavier. I'm not 100% sure if the translation for his name is right, but we've seen that the glasses he's wearing are the ones that Zeke ends up wearing. I think maybe Xavier could have been the current holder of the Beast Titan, which was then given to Zeke. I could see that being a possibility because if I'm right, we don't actually know who had the Beast Titan before Zeke. Overall, the past few chapters have been great, and I cannot wait to see how the final arc pans out. We want to know who's gonna die, who will survive, will there be Titan battles with the armored Jaw, Cart, Colossus Titan, as well as Eren, happen? Will we finally get to see him use the Warhammer Titan's abilities? Will it be an all-out war? Will Annie return? Will Reiner actually be able to turn into a Titan this time? Will the rumbling actually happen? As much as we all hate having to wait a month for a new chapter, it usually is worth the wait, and now, with how interesting it's getting, we'll literally be counting down the days for the next chapter. Anyway, I haven't talked about the manga in a while, so I thought I might as well just do a bit of a recap and give my thoughts on things that I haven't talked about, as well as the new chapter. Feel free to let me know any of your thoughts and theories on the recent chapters. I would love to know what you guys think. And as always, thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one.